Thousands of women have hit the streets in the US this weekend, fighting for their right to choose. As the clock ticks down to the election, it has become one of the key issues. And Waleed is in the swing state of Pennsylvania for us tonight, where he's been digging into how it could actually shape the result. Waleed, this really is a big one, isn't it?
It is a very big one, Hamish. As you go around the country, every state kind of has its focus. They talk about the black vote in the South, for example, the Latino vote in the West, the working class vote in the northern states. Every state has women, and there is one issue that is defining this contest around gender in a way that we haven't really seen before. Have a look.
We will not go back!
Today, across the nation, an 11th hour plea from America's women. They marched for the country's first female president on the issue many here believe transcends all others.
I will fight to restore what Donald Trump and his hand-selected Supreme Court justices took away from the women of America.
For a candidate accused of flip-flopping, access to abortion is one issue on which Kamala Harris has never wavered.
1 in 3 women in America lives in a state with a Trump abortion ban. Many with no exceptions even for rape and incest.
Always contentious in America, an explosive Supreme Court ruling in 2022 was a political nuclear bomb.
Breaking news from the Supreme Court.
5 justices ended the right of American women to choose abortion.
We hold that Roe and Casey must be overruled.
A sweeping, deeply consequential decision.
Women will be happy, healthy, confident, and free. You will no longer be thinking about abortion.
What Roe versus Wade, in my opinion, did was it basically created this culture. It was like, okay, well, if it's inconvenient, if you don't feel like you can afford it, then go get an abortion, and then you don't have to worry about it.
For Republicans, the Supreme Court's ruling simply allowed states to make their own laws.
To me, it's just empowering states' rights. Every state has a different culture, and what I would like to see in the future is a culture in which women have other options where they can turn to for help if they have no support, like the churches or other charitable organizations that will help guide them through this process and empower them in that way, instead of feeling like you just have to do away with something that could have been.
For Democrats, it was an act of betrayal.
That's where we get caught up. See, when you say the word abortion, all of a sudden people, oh my God, we're talking about abortion? That's all no, this is about women's health.
Now 1 in 3 women live under a Trump abortion ban. And if he's elected, everyone will.
There has to be some form of punishment.
The Supreme Court ruling triggered a wave of state laws, many acting to protect abortion access, but 21 moving to limit it, and in 13 states, an almost total ban.
A doctor or a nurse has to say, she might die any minute, better give her now care. Because otherwise I might go to prison for life in some cases.
So how does voting for Kamala Harris help solve the issue of access to abortion?
She said she will sign an executive order to say that the abortion question or the issue or the policy or the law, what we see today, will be pulled back from the states.
Executive orders aren't law.
No.
And if the Supreme Court has said, actually, the Constitution says this is for the states to determine, does the executive order make any difference?
It does make a difference. You know what? It gives people enough time to fight for their rights. If Trump wins, there are 2 individuals on the Supreme Court who will kindly, this is my opinion, will kindly step down. And then he will appoint 2 others who can be there for 40 more years.
While across the country, shifting abortion laws are keeping politicians and lawyers busy, for American women, the uncertainty may be proving lethal.
2 women in Georgia died after being unable to get either a legal abortion or timely medical care.
Amber Thurman and Candy Miller
died preventable deaths
related to a lack of abortion care access.
A state government review in Georgia found that laws banning abortion at 6 weeks likely led to the deaths of 28-year-old Amber Nicole Thurman and 41-year-old Candy Miller.
Amber was not a statistic. She was loved. You're looking at a mother that is broken.
anger over these two deaths caused the law to be overturned in court, only to be reinstated by a higher court a mere week later. And all that could have profound political implications in this crucial swing state. Already, half of Georgia's registered voters have voted. That's 3.5 million ballots already cast, and they are coming disproportionately from women by a large margin, 56% to 44%.
What I'm saying is not that I don't care about the welfare of women. Yes, it's your body, but most of the time you have a part to play in that happening, and there are consequences. This is how life is created. We all learn that from a younger age. We learn about the birds and the bees.
With just 3 days until the election, access to abortion is galvanising America's women like no other issue. Those who took to the streets today angry at the rights they've lost and fearful of a future they're now facing.
We won't go back! We won't go back! We won't go back! We won't go
Unbelievable scenes there, Waleed. How much is the Harris campaign relying on women?
Massively, Rachel. To such a huge extent like we've never seen before. To be clear, that's not because Kamala Harris is running as a woman. She's not made an issue of it in the way that Hillary Clinton did, for example. The Trump campaign has made a little bit of an issue of it, but it's really all about the issues, and specifically one issue, and that is abortion. And the polls are really, really clear on this. You're seeing what they call the gender gap skewing so hugely in favour of Kamala Harris with women. The gap is on some polls up to 17%, which is unbelievable. The flip side of that is that the gender gap is just as big towards the male vote in the Trump campaign. What I've given you are just the percentage terms, the percentage differences. That doesn't tell you about turnout. So the thing is, if women turn out in huge numbers, in much larger numbers than men, then Kamala Harris wins the White House. It seems pretty much that simple.
Waleed, these electoral dynamics, I think, provide an interesting lens to look at Trump's messaging in these final days. And there's one particular moment at a rally in Wisconsin that's grabbed a lot of attention and taken some of the oxygen over the past couple of days. Let's just take a look at it, because I think it's difficult to describe exactly what happens. So, obviously the crowd reacted a particular way, but given the gender stuff you're talking about, there's a lot of different interpretations about who he's appealing to and why he's doing this sort of stuff and what it means for the final vote.
Yep, and I think the stuff that we were talking about before about the gender stuff means that where we might assume that maybe there'll be voters put off by that sort of thing, and particularly female voters, probably a more compelling interpretation is this is playing exactly to the people that Trump is trying to appeal to. That he doesn't really put people off by doing this sort of thing because he's done so many things like that. It's kind of baked into his vote. But if he's appealing to a male vote, he's decided a long time ago that's who he's going for. Particularly now, he seems to be going very hard for the young male vote. He's appeared on a lot of bro podcasts. Kamala's appeared on a lot of female podcasts, by the way, as well. But I can't see it hurting him any way you cut it.
On the subject of wacky Trump footage, I saw today where he's in the polling booth. I think it was 2016, where he votes and then he slyly looks at his wife and to see who she's voting for. So, and well, he must have been worried she was voting for Hillary or something. So, do you think there's going to be many Republican women who are like voting slyly for Kamala, you know, and not letting their husbands know?
Yeah, so this is actually a really big part of the campaign, both the Harris campaign and then third-party groups who do their own advertising who are clearly allied with Harris. So we're seeing TV ads that are being directed specifically at women who might be in Republican households, but because of the abortion issue would want to vote Kamala, and they're a bit worried that they'll upset their families or whatever. So there are a couple of different ad campaigns now, television ad campaigns that are being directed at that. And now we're seeing on TikTok this trend where women are posting videos saying, I'm going to vote to cancel out my partner's vote. So this is a really big part of this campaign, seeing the split vote, a gender vote, being split within families, and particularly going to people reminding them their vote is private.
Waleed, thanks for the update. Take care of yourself. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, everyone.